everyone. This is Victoria from Adelaide Capital, and today I'm with Mark Binns, the CEO of BIGG Digital Assets. Mark, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, my pleasure. Excited to be here and good to see you again, Victoria. And I'm looking forward to our chat.
Must be nice to be entering 2023. The public markets and crypto had a pretty tough 2022. So how's the mood at BIGG these days and just in the market these days in general?
Yeah, it's positive. It's actually exciting. It is really good to have 2022 behind us. It was a tough year in crypto, hard in the general capital markets, but I feel this renewed energy and excitement sort of broadly in the market and particularly in crypto. I was just in an investor conference in the Bahamas and, I met 20 brokers every 20 minutes all day through 20 brokers. And the attitude wasn't, sort of ho-hum or glum. It was really positive. People are looking for new opportunities now. They think, the market is seeing, hopefully a bottom or near a bottom across the general markets. And it's time to look for opportunities, and great companies that have been being, built during last year, during the tough times, that are going to shine going forward. So we feel a lot of renewed energy inside of BIGG, inside of NetCoins, Blockchain Intelligence Group, and certainly the broker and investor community I'm talking to has a positive outlook. So yeah, it's feeling good now.
And then I guess, what about as the Fed keeps raising interest rates? So how do you see that impacting crypto prices going forward? And what's the sentiment around that?
Yeah, I think it's priced in. I mean, we will see, but with the 25 basis point increase in the States yesterday, did nothing but cause, generally the tech markets and the crypto markets to move up. Bitcoin is continuing to move. It's been up, between 40 and 50% since the start of the year. And as long as the Fed follows the plan that they've been, basically portraying that they're going to follow, and so far they have been, it's been really good for crypto. So, I feel like the bottom has been, baked in, and I'm bullish going forward with what we see.
So you just mentioned, Bitcoin up, 40% starting 2023, definitely a strong start. So what have you guys been seeing on the NetCoins platform then in terms of volume?
Yeah, trading's up for sure. It's really nice to see. I mean, Christmas, it gets quiet. Sometimes the start of the new year in January, it gets quiet. But once the month got going and people sort of returned to work, I guess you'd say, people are trading. They're active. We're seeing great volume increase over December, 20% plus. And it's across all coins. We're seeing it in Bitcoin, Ethereum, but also the altcoins on the platform. I was just looking last night, seeing lots of SHIB being traded and Doge. So, we're seeing the return, I guess you'd say, to the markets. And when prices in crypto start moving, people pay attention and they either get in and lock in profits, or they buy in because, they're getting ready to see the next run go. And as you know, with NetCoins, either way, we're making our fee and our revenue when people are trading. So it's nice to see.
So what's new at NetCoins then? How many coins are you guys offering now?
Yeah, we're at 39 now. So we launched 3 new coins yesterday: Quant, Near, and Atom. And the great thing about that is it gives our customers more choice, more one-stop shopping. That's both in Canada and the US. We added those coins. And I look at them, they're little revenue streams. Every coin you add brings a new user base of people that trade in that coin. There's zealots and there's believers in every different cryptocurrency, and they'll come and trade it on our platform because it's available, generating new little revenue streams for every coin we add. So that's the latest exciting news in the world of coins.
Well, I mean, also in terms of exciting news, obviously your US launch happened, late December. You guys are now in 9 of 50 states. So how are you guys choosing states? And then which states should we be looking for next on the platform?
Yeah, great question. And first of all, welcome to Colorado, Kentucky, Kansas, and Utah. Those are the 4 states we just launched yesterday. It's great to address, more of the US population with those 4 states on top of the 5 that were launched at the end of the year. We hit about 93 million Americans. So, you're getting close to 3 times the size of Canada for addressable population, or, crypto traders that we can offer our services to. And how do we, I guess part of the question is pick the states. Part of it is, a low burden to entry, I guess you would say, places where the governments and the regulators are open to conversations. They have their ducks in order. They know what they believe in. There is some states where they're not even sure how to deal with crypto companies yet still in today's day and age. And, they're a longer process. So high populations, and I guess easier to get through the onboarding process with the state regulators and governments. And ideally they have a crypto friendly regime. So that's, how we got into 9 states quickly. We also have no action letters into 18 more states right now. And a no action letter is essentially a request for permission to launch. It says, we've looked at all your laws and your regulations. Here's how we operate. We believe that we're in a position to legally and safely and with compliance launch in your state. Please confirm. So that's why it's called a no action letter. Let us know there's no further action and we can launch. Those will be rolling in, sort of daily and weekly as we get responses from those states. And with those no action letters, that brings us to over 50% of the United States, over 50% of the states themselves. On top of that, one of the things that a number of states have is a money transmitter license. They say if you're going to be a crypto trading platform and money is going to flow through your system, you need to have a money transmission license. And that's a more complicated application. It requires a fair amount of detail. But we've actually started on our first money transmission license in the States. And what's really great about that process is once you have one, you can basically submit it to all the other states with very little changes that require money transmission licenses. And by our count, currently, there's about 16 different states that we'll be able to enter once we have money transmission license. So again, that jumps us up from whatever the number was, 27 to another 16 states. So we're rolling it out piece by piece, and it's going well.
So you put these letters into the states, and then what's the onboarding process look like? And is it similar, like in a similar timeline for each state?
Yeah, it really depends, again, sort of on their regulatory regime. I take New York as an example, right? It's probably quite well known by most people that they have something called a BIT license. And it is a whole other level of, scrutiny and very unique requirements to operate in New York versus a money transmission license or other states that have specific crypto friendly laws, I guess you would say. So we have to do it state by state. Some states take longer than other states, but again, we'll keep rolling out sort of through the order of operation of basically no action letters, money transmission licenses, all the way through to when you get to New York, which will probably be last because of the more complicated BIT license and the limited number of licenses they give out. So
I know it's still really early days, but can you provide any insights, even if they're only qualitative at this point, on what the uptake in the US has looked like so far?
Yeah, we're right on plan. The whole idea of the states was to get live before the end of the year last year, the first 5 states, and operate on what we call a land and expand model. It wasn't, blow out all of our treasury on marketing right out of the gate. It's get in, get live, make sure everything works, test the banking rails, and then stand up instant ACH, which is essentially like instant email money transfer funding. Right out of the gate, it was essentially 3-day funding, but we're now launching what we call instant ACH with Plaid, which allows you to fund your account right into NetCoins instantly out of your bank account. So with the 9 states live, about to launch instant ACH, we're ready to ramp up marketing and really start pushing. So then I guess as you ramp up marketing, should we expect an increase in your SG&A in the coming quarters as you guys really get up and running? Yeah, if you watched our financial statements through 2022, much like every other crypto trading platform, we did a major pullback on marketing spend, and we aggressively cut through to the middle and the end of the year to match the market. Part of it is nobody was listening and wanting to buy crypto. So blowing your brains out on marketing is just a waste of cash. So we did a really good job of sort of matching the market. And what you're going to see on SG&A as we go into the States now is that we can staff the US operation out of Canada. There's not a lot of incremental costs there. So it's just marketing, but we will start ramping up the marketing costs. But we're smart about it. We watch the customer acquisition cost, or the CAC, and make sure that it's fitting in our general guidelines. And we know our typical lifetime value in Canada of a customer. So we're ranging from, $100 to get a customer, $400 to $500 in rising lifetime value. And we're measuring that in the States as we go and making sure that the way we market is, still economically viable. We can bring in a customer for a reasonable price point and have a good lifetime value on them. And as long as that's working, we'll keep adding money.
So you mentioned staffing it out of Canada. So do you guys have to hire any extra bodies to help with the US launch?
No, we don't. We have some different, maybe consultants and spots, lawyers that are US specific with regulatory work. But overall, we have a killer team here in Canada. We can run it from Canada with Canadian cost base, and all the revenue, of course, in the US is going to give us US dollar, revenue and profits. So we're in a great situation to be, a brand name player in the trading platforms in Canada for crypto, and then take all of that infrastructure, that same team, that same cost base, and start bringing in US dollar revenue.
So then should we be expecting you guys to segment, US revenues and Canadian revenues separately on your financials going forward?
That's going to be up to our accountants and auditors. So, we just launched, as we said, KPMG is our auditor. As people know, we have one of the only crypto companies in Canada of a top 4 audit shop, and they'll tell us how we need to break it out. So I think that's still to be determined.
And then you mentioned previously, the new ACH funding feature. So for those of, I guess, the audience who aren't quite sure what that is, do you want to maybe just briefly, I know you briefly explained it, but just a little bit more, and then also how that increases the competitiveness of your platform?
Yeah, we brought on some amazing technology partners for our US launch that we're also backfilling some of them into Canada, but there's some unique opportunities in the States. We're working with Plaid, global fintech, well-known, and they're going to power our instant ACH solution in the States. And then we're coupling that with another company called Sardine, and they do cutting edge fraud and compliance. They have an engine that looks at users, where they're from. It goes right down to like what language is their keyboard in. And you're thinking, why would that matter? Well, if someone tried to use NetCoins, through a VPN from, a foreign country that we're not servicing for fraudulent purposes, it'll show, the keyboard is not in the English language, for example, and it'll flag it and tell us to go look, this user could be high risk, et cetera. So you combine these two fintech solutions, we're going to be able to have customers, instantly fund their bank account into NetCoins and start trading, and it will weed out all of the people that would be trying to do that for illegal or fraudulent reasons. So we're really excited about, the launch of that. It's competitive, it's unique in the market. And a lot of the big players in the US don't take fiat currency at all, right? You can't onboard. You have to be already in a stable coin or a crypto coin. So the fact that we do allow and operate in fiat currency with, some specialized fintech partners puts us in a unique position for onboarding and offboarding with US customers. And
what's going on with NetCoins Pay? Could we get an update on that?
Yeah, we officially switched over to MasterCard. So we were with Visa originally, and we moved over to MasterCard, started a migration. That's done. So we're fully on MasterCard, and they're very crypto friendly, I guess you would say, and proactive in terms of the different cards. So we're excited to offer that card, and we're going to be working with those guys and our other provider, Coho, to find more use cases for the card, different ways that our users can live their lives using the NetCoins Pay card, generate rewards, and also find value. And as part of that, right now, we're up to over 10,000 reward transactions a month. So a lot of people are using the card, and what's really great is they're getting rewards in Bitcoin, and that Bitcoin reward that went into their account is up already 40 to 50% this month. So there was always the idea is that you can stack sats, get paid in Bitcoin as rewards, and the incremental value, hopefully, of that crypto will go up over time. So, you get paid 1 Aeroplan point. It's probably only worth 1 Aeroplan point in 2 months or 3 months or 9 months. Hopefully the Bitcoin you get paid will be worth more and more as the market evolves.
So just switching gears on you for a moment here away from NetCoins. Earlier this week, you guys put out a press release, an update on Blockchain Intelligence Group, and you guys announced, numerous new contracts stemming from growing security and fraud concerns. So is this pace of contract, this pace of contract wins a noticeable uptick from what you guys have seen in the past?
You know what? Yeah, we've seen the market moving towards us. That's the best way I can describe it. Again, when I was in this recent investor conference, I was drawn a line of our product is here, and we've always believed in compliance first crypto, but the market is coming towards us. And what I mean by that is you see all of this push on, regulation, security, compliance, the US government, passing laws and having working groups, et cetera. That's all good for the industry. I've always said that for crypto to gain global mass adoption, it has to be safe, secure, compliant. People need to know they're not going to lose their money. this terrible stuff that happened with, FTX and Celsius, I'm glad that it's getting out of our system, right? It's like cutting the cancer out and forcing everyone to wake up and go, wow, we need to regulate the industry properly for adoption and growth. And our businesses have been set up for that since day one. The entire reason Blockchain Intelligence Group was created was to be a leader in creating a compliant and safe ecosystem. So we see the market moving towards us, towards our products. There's definitely more inbounds. The funnel is getting bigger, faster in terms of deals. And the size of them is getting bigger, and the close rate, people are moving faster. So all round positives for that business with what's been happening in the sort of the macro crypto world.
So then what does the sales cycle look like at Blockchain Intelligence Group? So how much visibility would you guys have into the future contracts that are coming available?
Yeah, to start with, for visibility, we have, 100% visibility. We run everything through, of course, our own sales engine. We know our close rates on deals, how many need to pitch to win X amount. We know the sales cycle for the different types of customers, whether they're law enforcement or a federal agency or a bank. So you can get an expected value. You can basically say, here's my whole sales funnel. Here's all the deals. Here's all the values of these deals if we were to win them. Here's the percentage we will typically win. And here's the time frame that it takes to win them. And we can tell you at any given time, so what the expected future value is, which is great. And those are growing. In terms of sales cycles, it's enterprise sales. So we're selling software. In some cases, there's one decision maker. In other cases, there's a dozen. So it varies a lot. In law enforcement, I would say it's between days and months, depending on the size, sort of the police department you might be talking to. Right. If it's a federal agency, it could easily be over a year of conversations. Independent investigators in the space could be, weeks to a couple of months. And talking to Lance, if it's banks, it's typically sort of a 6, maybe 9-month process. So the key is, again, in enterprise sales always is keep the funnel full, right? And add to the funnel. And then on the other end, on the back end, the deals will come out as sold at a predictable percentage, typically, once you have enough data, enough history. So yeah, it can range from a few days on quick deals to a year. Totally depends on the segment.
You also announced in that press release that QLUE is supporting 15 blockchains, and the company has risk scored. It was like more than 13.7 billion addresses and transactions. So how does this stack up against some of the competitive products that are out there?
Yeah, a stat that we can tell you is that last year, I think the number that we've seen, and there's a few different pieces of data out there, but probably $3.7 billion worth of crypto was stolen in 2022. It's a big market. Wow. And we cover 78% of the blockchains that crypto was stolen on. We have a leading product in terms of coverage in blockchains. And we have, again, the majority of the chains that actually matter to investigators. I haven't even looked lately, but there's probably more than 5,000 cryptocurrencies now. There's certainly, last time I remember checking for sure, there was like more than 3,000, but people don't use these tiny, obscure cryptos to, launder money or steal money or make purchases because there's not enough liquidity in them. There's not enough movement in them. So they tend to use the bigger currencies, and we cover all of the bigger currencies in the 15 that we have. Those are, typically Bitcoin, Ethereum, anything that's ERC20 based on Ethereum, Tron, Bitcoin Cash, et cetera. So we're in a great position from coverage, and, we'll keep adding more chains as we go. But two other things I think are really important is we have one of the best graphing engines in the industry. And a graphing engine is essentially shows you the movement of crypto through the blockchain visually and explains to you what's going on as a user. And, most of the users, government agencies, law enforcement, et cetera, they're not crypto people. This is just a new thing that's been added to their job. They might be an expert in, financial crime, but not crypto. So we give them an engine that makes it really easy to understand what's going on and where the movement of coins is, even if you don't understand, the bits and bolts of Bitcoin itself, which makes it a big winner in the market. And we also have great data. So we've talked about this a lot. We've done a lot of AI work and a lot of collection of data to basically de-anonymize the blockchain. And if you go into the tool and you say, you can see that Bitcoin went to a certain wallet, and our tool can't tell you who owns that wallet or any information about it, it's not particularly useful to you. So our data set has been told to us by people that have shopped around, looked at competitors' products, looked at our products, QLUE specifically, and said, you have a great data set. It's a very full data set. And it's because there's billions of data points in it. It's a large data solution. So, we have a wide range of chains, great graphing, great data, good price point, makes us a competitive product in the market.
You guys also announced the hire of Timothy Cradle. So can you just tell us a little bit more about him and how he's going to fit into Blockchain Intelligence Group?
Yeah, I mean, our strength is our people. I think that's some large companies' tagline, but particularly when you're in crypto, you need to understand both the background of what's going on, but what are your users looking for? How do they see the product? And Tim, what's great about him is he has deep regulatory compliance experience. 3 of his recent titles were Director of Financial Crimes Compliance, Chief Compliance Officer, and BSA Compliance Officer, which is Bank Secrecy Act Compliance Officer. He's been a buyer of compliance, technology and software throughout his career. He knows what our customers are concerned about, what they should be looking for, and how our product can solve it. So having someone like that on our bench and that bench strength, will make our product better, make our sales cycle better, and add a lot to our company. So yeah, we're really glad to have Tim on the team.
And then you had previously mentioned training. So can you just tell us a little bit more about what you guys are doing for Blockchain Intelligence Group?
Yeah, we keep seeing demand, right? So as the industry grows, people know that they need to understand it, particularly if, again, they're in compliance or the financial side of organizations. So what we've done is we're taking our CCI training program, and adding more languages. So for a cryptocurrency investigator up to date, we offer English, of course. It's a great program, showcases our products like QLUE, BitRank, et cetera. But we just launched Mandarin, opening up a huge market for us of Mandarin speaking people that can actually go buy and use the product now. And we're about to launch other languages very shortly. And these are all direct sources of QLUE contracts and QLUE customers. As we train people, we show them QLUE, then they become buyers.
So I'm going to jump gears on you here, but I do have some questions on, TerraZero as well. So What's going on with TerraZero these days? Could we get an update on that business?
Yeah, they're busy. So, I think of it as 1999 in the internet, but it's 2023 in the metaverse. So in 1999, every major corporation in the world was trying to figure out how they get on the internet. Let's say it was 97, 98, 99, how they're going to serve their customers, what their messages are going to be, how they're going to even build a website. And that's what Dan Reitzik and his team over at TerraZero are seeing. All the major corporations are saying, okay, the metaverse is coming, it's growing, it's early days, but we don't want to be left out in the cold. We don't want to miss this opportunity. And we better make sure we're there no matter what. So they're coming to companies like TerraZero, and they're one of the few in the world that offer these products, and saying, build us our metaverse experience, or even, help us figure out what it should be and how to design it. So they're working with a ton of global brands. They're working with Estee Lauder, which owns, an extremely wide range of beauty products that people probably don't realize are owned by Estee Lauder. Molson Coors, again, which owns a ton of different alcoholic brands. Jimmy John's, Atlantic Records. One interesting example is they just did Jason Derulo's launch for a song recently. They built him a mansion. They held a virtual party. I mean, all sorts of cool stuff. But these brands will pay significant dollars to TerraZero to build these experiences in the metaverse. And TerraZero also owns land in the metaverse that they can then rent these brands so they can put these experiences in. Because just like on the internet, you can have a website, but you got to host it somewhere. So it's like they're acting like a GoDaddy saying, okay, here's our land. You can put your building on it for a week. And when you're done, take it down, and then we can lease it to someone else. So they're building metaverse experiences, and there's a ton of new activations coming. We can't talk about them yet because they're not live, and the brands don't want them released publicly until they stand up the experiences. But, pay close attention to TerraZero and their releases, because there's a lot of new brands coming out shortly as well.
So what's going on with their plans to go public? Has there been any movement on that end?
Yeah. And in fact, I'm excited to say that yesterday they signed their definitive agreement with the capital pool company called Whatcom. I think it's called Whatcom Capital 2. But they had an LOI signed that we talked about. And now if you go look it up, you can see the definitive agreement is signed to take TerraZero public. I know they're talking with the exchanges on things like valuation, making sure the audit is done and ready to go, so they can stand up and be public. The timeline is probably looking April, May right now to be public, to get through the rest of that process, but it's going really well. And yeah, the definitive agreement is the big telltale that they're all set up, and that's, a binding agreement now to become a public company.
So how's BIGG feeling about the investment that they made in TerraZero these days?
Yeah, I feel absolutely great about it. I'm not sure that the market has given us full value for it or any significant value for it yet, but it's all about, being ahead of the curve, right? When we got into crypto trading, nobody did it. You couldn't even, you had to wire money to Japan if you wanted to get money into an online account. People were meeting in Tim Hortons parking lots and passing money back and forth for paper wallets, right? And, at the time we're getting into crypto trading, people are like, well, I don't even know what that is. Right. Metaverse is the same. This is definitely on the front end, but there's big global brands in it. And TerraZero is doing a great job being, front and center and servicing these brands and standing up technology. So I feel great about the investment. I feel great about where they're going. We're helping pioneer a whole new marketing space. You look at Facebook, now Meta, yesterday, the results are speaking for themselves. The stock's up, I think, 25% today. They're doubling down. They're focusing on building that future out for marketing. And, we have our play in that space, and I'm excited to have it. And every time I talk to Dan, I get more excited. So I just try to leave him alone and let him execute.
Well, I know when you guys first acquired TerraZero, you had talked about there could be a potential intersection between TerraZero and blockchain intelligence group. So is there anything new on that end?
Yeah, so I've been hearing from Lance, who sits on the board and represents BIGG on the board of TerraZero, and of course he runs Blockchain Intelligence Group every day. They're working on integrating some products. So we have our NFT Explorer. That's one they're talking about integrating into the TerraZero technology suite. So the customers of TerraZero can use Blockchain Intelligence Group products. So they're finding unique ways and intersection because, part of getting into TerraZero in the metaverse is a crypto play in my mind, right? It's built on Ethereum and NFTs and smart contracts, and the marketing layer is what's on top of it. But at the core of it, it is tied to crypto, and it's exciting to watch our tools get integrated into TerraZero products. So that's going to take some time, but I know that they're actively working on it now.
So just a few quick general questions as they relate to BIGG. Market conditions look like they're improving. So with that, are there any plans on BIGG's end to revisit the TSX uplist this year? Yeah,
I mean, we're going to keep a close eye on it. It's a balance, right? So there's more overhead and cost and time and energy in maintaining a TSX listing, for example, versus a CSE listing. And the reason you take on that extra burden is for exposure. But right now, we're actually getting excellent exposure. I'd say our name is quite well known. People that want to buy our stock can buy our stock. So we're looking at the balance of, is the market ready for it? And does it make sense? So there's no rush from this side. We're going to keep a close eye on it. When it makes sense, we will absolutely do it. So that's where we sit right now. We're going to watch and see how the market evolves and make sure that the time, energy, and money of doing it is worthwhile to our shareholders and to our treasury.
And then what are your predictions for Bitcoin for the remainder of 2023?
Yeah, I'm looking towards the 30,000 number. I think probably a lot of people are. I feel like there's a magnet from here to 30,000 US for Bitcoin. Everything else will follow sort of accordingly. Bitcoin always leads the market. And we'll see where it goes beyond that. I mean, it's going to depend a lot on how the Fed throughout the year decides whether they're done raising interest rates or not, and other macro environment situations. I fully believe in time we're going to blow way past 30,000, but that's more of a short-term target, I guess I'm eyeing, and would love to see it get back to that level. That's sort of where it was right before FTX blew up. And I think there's support in the market to do that. So that's what I'm seeing and hoping, but no crystal balls here either. The good news is again, everybody knows our businesses aren't reliant on the price of crypto. Up and down, we make trading fees. Blockchain Intelligence Group makes no difference what the price of Bitcoin is for their software as a service contracts, et cetera. So it's more for interest's sake. But yeah, we'd love to see it go up.
And then what are the goals that BIGG is looking to accomplish in 2023?
Yeah, it's sort of business by business, right? And those are the building blocks that together create big digital assets. So inside of NetCoins, obviously keep pushing on the US expansion. We want to see revenue growth again, coming back in a steady way. Now that 2022 is behind us, hopefully crypto is less of a dirty word. And as you see price increases, we'll see trading volume increases. And when they trade more with higher prices, that actually creates more actual dollars in terms of revenue. Product expansion is going to be big at NetCoins. We just added 3 more coins. We're going to continue to look at making sure we have a good wide offering. We're planning to move into the staking industry as well. So people can, keep their coins on NetCoins, generate yield from them. We've got to be very smart and deliberate about how we do that, working with regulators in Canada and making sure that, again, all coins that are staked are secure and safe under a compliant and regulated future, I guess, in existence. So those are the big things at NetCoins. At Blockchain Intelligence Group, more brand name wins like QLUE Bank recently. We'd love to be able to keep announcing and talking about, the customers that are taking on our products, moving our CCI training into more and more languages, more and more addressable market that can buy the product. And more media. I want us to be, front and center in talking about the industry and where it's going from a compliance point of view, being part of, solving crimes and getting crypto back for people where it's been involved in, a fraud or a theft. And that stuff is all really good for the brand. So that's what we're going to work on there. And TerraZero, going public is a big deal, right? That creates liquidity for us in our investment. And also I want to see all these brand names they're working with come to light. And I know that they have a lot of cool, exciting projects underway that will come out over the coming weeks and months that they're working on it. And obviously we love to see with them as soon as they're public, the continued revenue growth, right? Showing that they're building a sustainable growing business, which is exactly where they've been so far. One more thing is that, outside of those 3 businesses, industry consolidation is happening. You see it in a number of places. I get regular inbounds, do you want to look at this? Do you want to look at that? Small dying crypto companies with limited to no revenue. Of course, I don't want to look at those. But there is some good crypto businesses out there, both in Canada and internationally, that could be good acquisitions for us. And it could be a good time to do that. So we're going to keep our eye on it. We'll take advantage, as I've been saying for 6, 12, 18 months now. If something good comes up, we'll take advantage of it and bring it into the fold. And if something doesn't, that's fine. We're going to ride the horses we have. And ultimately, we want to be a good investment for shareholders, right? We're all here working hard, trying to build a future for the industry, but also for our business and our stakeholders and our shareholders. So that's what our focus is for 2023.
Well, I want to thank you again for jumping on with me and answering all of my questions. We always love having you on here, and it definitely sounds like 2023, there's going to be a lot to watch, within each of your businesses. And I know especially people are going to be watching NetCoins and excited for the US launch and to see how that unfolds over the course of the year. So again, thank you for your time. And I guess I'll just pass it back to you for any last words.
Yeah, no, just thanks for having me. Always great to talk with you, talk about the business. Thanks to all of our stakeholders and shareholders and employees that are working hard, every day building this company. And we're excited for the future. So I'm sure we'll be back here at some point in a couple of months and do another update. And watch for BIGG in the news and watch for BIGG in other conferences that we're doing throughout the year, because we're regular participants in things like OTC markets and various US institutional meetings, et cetera. But thanks for having me.
Okay, thanks again. And thanks everyone for joining today.